Thank you so much, Randy. I am so grateful for this honor and to be recognized by Citizens Union, an organization and community of thought leaders for whom I have tremendous respect. Prior to 2021, only about 5% of voting age New Yorkers and less than 23% of registered Democrats voted in the Democratic primary, the election that selects the mayor of New York City. Because of our closed primary system, independents and Republicans are ineligible to vote unless they change their registration by a deadline that is 4+ months prior to that primary. The process is confusing at best and punitive and restrictive at worst. In 2013, Bill de Blasio became mayor for 8 years after winning the support of less than 10% of registered Democrats. How is that okay? It is not. So we decided there is something that we can do about it. That was a big conversation in our household last year. As the city was suffering through COVID, people had left the city, crime was rising, jobs were disappearing, and the city's physical and fiscal health was in deep crisis. It was a moment that called for action. And my action came in the form of 2 independent expenditures, which ran the largest targeted voter mobilization effort in the history of New York City. Be Counted NYC mobilized nearly 20,000 Republicans and independents to re-register as Democrats ahead of the February 14th deadline. After that deadline, a separate IE, Vote for NYC's Future, began outreach to over 1 million moderate registered Democrats who don't regularly vote in mayoral elections. The New York City Board of Elections reported that a little under 1 million New York City Democrats voted on June 22nd, making this the highest turnout mayoral primary this century. I believe we played a key role in that positive outcome, along with the very worthy efforts of others. I was simply looking to give every citizen the opportunity to have a vote that is counted. And I am most interested in having elected officials who are actually representative of the broader electorate. To do that, I believe New York needs to continue the important strides it has made in modernizing its election laws and expanding the opportunity for New Yorkers to participate in the democratic process. Establishing statewide early voting, consolidating state and federal primary elections on the same day, and enacting automatic voter registration have all been critical in ensuring the democratic process is open to every New York voter. However, there remains a critical weakness in New York's electoral system, which is in need of reform: the closed primary process. In 75% of all elections nationwide, the ultimate outcome is determined in the primary. In states with closed primary systems like New York, this means that millions of registered voters are prohibited from participating. They are effectively disenfranchised. The impact is corrosive. Elected officials can hold office for decades without ever engaging with voters outside of the small minority of voters from their own political party who regularly show up and vote in primary elections. This is not how democracy should work, particularly in a state that has a proud progressive history. New York is among only 9 states in the country that still maintain an undemocratic, closed primary process. Meanwhile, in other states, an open primary system has proven to level the playing field for all voters, particularly those voters who are members of minority communities. For example, in the time since California eliminated its closed primary process, African American and Latino representation in the state legislature has increased 50% and 25% respectively. By contrast, under New York's current closed primary system, Black and Hispanic voters are all too often taken for granted by one party and entirely overlooked by another. My sincere hope is that we take this important 2021 election as an opportunity to reflect on this injustice. And in the proud New York tradition of bold, progressive, reform-oriented leadership, swiftly take up this cause of adopting a statewide open primary system to guarantee that every citizen has the opportunity to have their voice heard in our elections. In closing, I would like to thank Citizens Union and remind everyone here of how essential groups like Citizen Union are to our civil society. If you look at the history of this organization, you will see a consistent commitment to making the political process work through increased participation and better informed electorates. That is precisely what we need to confront the challenges of this moment in our history. So thank you for supporting this organization, and thank you for this honor.